Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls. This is Purple Zebra back with my 2019 version of my Conqueror Mayall redraw. Now, I was supposed to do this during November because that's when I originally did my Mayall redraw back in 2018, but my computer went on the fritz during that time and I had to get a lot of other stuff going, so I did this kind of late. It's almost a month late by now, but you know, what are you gonna do? But yes, this is my 2019 redraw of Mayall, and as you will see as we go through this entire thing, I changed about almost everything of her character design. Here's the thing about it. When I originally did my redraw of Mayall, I wanted to keep her exactly like she was. Like, same outfit, same everything, yada yada yada. I just wanted to do her in my new style. But looking back on it, here's the thing. I really dislike her design. Not for it's like, oh, it's like too much or well, actually it is. It is because it's too much. I don't like the belt thing around her waist. I didn't like her necklace. I didn't like the things coming off the side. But the thing is, I did like a lot about her design. I liked her galaxy shard being on her hip. I liked the open dress. You can't really see it in the new picture that I drew. I like the open dress. I like her eyes and I like her hair, how it swoops the way it does. I liked her gloves and I like the fact that she actually has a marking. You couldn't see it in the 2018 redraw and I don't think you could see it in my original drawing, which by the way, I lost my original file of the original drawing, so you're gonna see like a really badly rendition version of the original drawing. But on the original one, she actually had a snake on her forehead eating its own tail. It was kind of representative just of her as a character, and I wanted to change that, but I still liked it. I still like that aspect of the snake and everything, and the idea of like maybe a tattoo or a marking. Because the thing is, if you guys remember from my original Conqueror Mayall redraw 2018, which I'll probably link it at the end of this video if you guys want to see that. I don't know why you would. It's really not that great. I really don't like the way I drew her like a year ago. It's insane how much my style has changed in just a year. But the thing is, if you guys remember, my character Mayall was originally a Sailor Moon fan character, and her story was that she was part of an elite group of people known as the Galaxy Soldiers. Completely different from the Sailor Senshi and the Sailor Starlights and all those people. The Galaxy Soldiers were essentially, they were grown, but they had to be grown in pairs, because that's how they exist. There had to be one boy and one girl, and those two would be considered siblings. And eventually, you know, the strongest ones would eventually go out and be awarded their own galaxy to protect. Every single one of them, when they were born, they were called like Neo Galaxies, so they're all called Neo. And Mayall here had a brother who she was kind of obsessed with. I say brother because they were grown, quote unquote. They weren't really born, but they were like born at the same time. And I remember in my original video, I was kind of tiptoeing around the fact that it's technically incest, what she was doing, because she was so obsessed and in love with her brother. And I was like, you know, they're not technically like biologically related, but fuck it, it's fucking incest. I don't fucking give a shit anymore. Like, I feel like the older I get, the more I'm just like, okay, it's incest. I don't give a shit. It's writing. Who the fuck cares about this shit? So, yes, incest. and she became kind of obsessed and wanted to protect her brother at all times. And so when her and her brother Neo, there's a reason he was still called Neo by the end of this, but her and her brother Neo were kind of like the strongest galaxy soldiers. And so Neo was about to get his own new galaxy, but if he did, he would have to leave the colony and stuff like that, and they wouldn't see each other anymore because he would have to go out and protect his galaxy. And so what Mayall did was Mayall made him sick, so that around the time that he was supposed to be awarded his galaxy, he wasn't able to get it. But instead of him getting it, now Mayall got it because they had about the same base power. And then she kind of, you know, had to go out and protect, they gave her Mayall's object, which is actually a galaxy. They gave her Mayall's object, and so in her quest to kind of protect her brother, she still ended up away from him, and that drove her a little crazy, and she became known as Conqueror Mayall, because when she went crazy, she tried to conquer all the galaxies around her, yada yada yada. And the reason Neo, even in the future with like Serena, Usagi, whatever, he's still called Neo, is because they were so scared that he would be exactly like Mayall, that he would go insane just like Mayall did, that they never awarded him a galaxy, so he was always a Neo Galaxy soldier, and so that's why they still call him Neo. And then there was another character in there named Andromeda, who, that's a different part of the story. Maybe one day I'll redraw those two, and you guys get the full story of all of them. But yeah, and the thing I wanted to change about her was, like, a lot of her original design is, like, I didn't really like it. I liked the theme of her red dress and the way it kind of came up like flames at the tips, and I liked her gloves, and I liked the snake look. I put it around her neck this time because I thought that was much more fitting for her character, other than the snake biting its own tail kind of thing. Because the snake biting its own tail was kind of a reference to the fact that in trying to quote-unquote protect her brother, she hurt him and then ended up hurting herself and then ended up hurting everybody else because she went crazy. You know, all that stuff. But I think the snake around her neck works more because she's kind of like, she's one of those suffocating characters. I wouldn't classify her as a yandere or yandere, or however you want to say that word. I wouldn't classify her as that, but she is very possessive and she's very obsessive. And I think the reason I wanted to give her kind of like a cooler, hipper design than the one I had prior, number one is I feel like there's something to say about artists who grow older who make their characters look older, like progressively, as you see them redraw the same character over and over and over again. As they get older, sometimes you can see their characters also get older. And I think that's two main factors. One factor is that artists just kind of get out of this idea that all characters need to have the same face, all men have to have this like really strong jaw, all women have to be kind of like softer and stuff like that. And they kind of get out of that mentality and allows them to make older looking characters because, you know, softer jaws and stuff like that are reminiscent of younger characters. And, you know, huge eyes and stuff like that. Not necessarily for me because I draw everyone with huge eyes, but you know, whatever. And another thing is, I feel like as I get older, sometimes I want to take my characters with me. Because as I get away from the age of like 14, let's say, it's around the time that I made these characters, I get away from the age of like, I understand 14-year-olds nowadays. Like, I understand what I was like when I was 14. I understand what people around me were like when I was 14. But I don't understand 14-year-olds now. So I want to carry these characters into something more that I understand. So it makes sense that someone who grows a bit older as an artist tends to draw a little bit of older characters. Not always. I still draw kind of young characters. I draw 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds. One of my characters is 7. So I'm not saying that's like universal, like they only draw old characters, but you know, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they make characters look a bit older. And that's what I wanted to do with Mayall here. I wanted to give her a new, hipper, cooler design, specifically because she was kind of like my first edgy female character. Not edgy in the sense of, oh my god, they have so many mental illnesses and they're so dark and mysterious. That honor goes to Sasuke. But, but the thing is, she was edgier in the fact that her story was very based around dark deception and obsession and possessiveness and incest and things like that. And the thing is, now that I think about it, it's like Sailor Moon, when I made her into a Sailor Moon character, it isn't that weird to think that she is a character that would actually exist. Because, you know, there were obsessive characters in that show. Like Diamond was obsessed with Neo Queen Serenity. And so he took that obsession and was now obsessed with Serena and almost like killed everybody and destroyed everything because of his obsession. Emerald was obsessed with Diamond and she got herself killed because of that obsession. You know, there are a lot of obsessive characters in that show. I wouldn't say, oh, I wouldn't put it past them to take on the topic of incest or anything like that, because that's not necessarily what I mean. But the thing is, they did have a lot of characters who just kind of have this air of, oh, this is totally natural kind of thing, when they were like fawning after people. Like, I remember there was I think it was season 5? I think it was, I forget. Season 4, season 5, I forget. But it was with the Dark Moon Circus, I believe it was. And there were three guys, Fisheye, Hawkeye, and Tiger's Eye, I believe. And Fisheye liked men, Hawkeye, I believe, liked older women, but Tiger's Eye liked younger women. And I believe there was even one episode where he went and saw like a child, like a young child. And I was like, it was a little weird for me because all of the other times that they did stuff like that, he was trying to like, they were trying to flirt with them. But this time, it didn't really work that way with them. It was kind of more like teacher-student kind of thing rather than flirting. But then there was another time where Fisheye went and tried to flirt with a young boy. And I'm like, And they're doing this like so naturally, like nothing's wrong with this. And I'm like, Not saying that show promotes that kind of stuff, but it's just kind of funny because it's like, you know, sitting here, I'm like, wait. Like, you think about it for 2 seconds and I'm like, what are you doing? But I definitely wanted to up her like dark aesthetic with the eyes, and I didn't want to do like the shaved head kind of look because I felt like I've been doing that way too much with my characters who I want to make quote-unquote edgy. And so I did a thing where she has these very large clips in her hair and she holds that to one side so all of her hair kind of cascades on the other side. And then I changed her like weird earrings to these big hoop earrings, and I wanted to do better with the lighting and the shading. And I realized while I was doing it that I gave her a very Jessica Rabbit looking dress. And then she has like the purple gloves and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, apparently my tolerance for edgy characters is just Jessica Rabbit. But I loved it. I loved doing her dress. I loved adding the sparkles to it because give a girl a little bit of sparkles, man. Even if she's super edgy and dark and like incestuous, like give her some sparkles because every girl deserves a little sparkle. And honestly, I freaking love the way this came out. Like, I'm sure in a year I'll be like, oh, there's so many things I could have changed. Like, why did I think this was good? Like I did with my 2018 one, I kind of like briefly mentioned it, but I do want to rip that one a new one because I'm like, how did I think that was so like amazing at the time? But this one, I love it. I'm definitely glad I'm getting better with my lighting, making things seem a little bit brighter because I think I had a little bit of a apprehensiveness to doing that before, just because I didn't really understand too much about color. And I'm not saying I understand everything about color nowadays, but I am getting better at just realizing that lighting is something you can use to your advantage and you shouldn't be scared of it, and just make things brighter and you'll see a great difference. But that is my Conqueror Mayall redraw for 2019. If you guys have any questions or you want to hear more about this like Sailor Moon fan fiction that I had going on, let me know. I'd love to talk about them. I'd love to revisit Neo and Andromeda. It's going to be really different to draw them because they are actually male. And this was before I knew, I didn't really read the manga of Sailor Moon, I only watched the anime. So this was before I heard that the creator of Sailor Moon was like, upset with the Sailor Starlights because she said that only women can be Sailor Senshi. So, hey, I'm just saying, I want to follow the rules of the person who actually made the content. But yeah, I really do like these characters. I don't think I'll ever put them into anything else. I think keeping them as Sailor Moon fan characters is like, oh, my last fan characters in existence. That's a lie. I still have my Steven Universe fan characters. But you know, one of my last fan characters in existence. But that's all the time I got for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about in the comments below. Critique it, do whatever you want. I can look at those critiques, and next year when I come back to redraw this, I will definitely take those critiques into effect, and I will see how that has worked for me. But thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. If you want to see more, check me out on Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, and support me on Ko-fi, my Not Safe for Work Patreon, or check out my Teespring if you guys are willing. But thank you all so much for watching. It's Purple Zebra signing off, calling for a blackout.